to have a striker who can step up in those big moments?
I think he started that scoring run just after you asked me that he hasn't scored for quite a while. Yeah, that's why I always take a breath, bit of yoga, just let things go. And he missed a lot of football, Dom. And again, he's the kind of guy who, when he's been playing for us, he just works his socks off. But he had an interrupted season as well. And he's crucial to us. I mean, I think it's no mistake. It's not just the goals he scores, for sure. He adds so much to our game in terms of how hard he works for the team, both with and without the ball. But he's getting goals at crucial stages, and especially when you're talking about sort of knockout games, it comes down to moments, and it's easy to sort of say, oh, it was just a penalty, but they were big penalties for us. They were massive moments. You need somebody with real sort of calmness and clear-headedness to take those chances, and even the one the other night. I've been really pleased. I mean, the hot topic for us last year was set pieces. Our set pieces this year have been outstanding. We're a threat every time we get one. We kind of stop the opposition, and that's something that the guys, the coaching staff, have worked on a lot. Dom getting into those areas, from set pieces. So again, he was in the right place. Big goal for us in the context of the game, and pleased for him. And like I said, that's why it's important. Like I said, his first year at the club, I think he's been outstanding. But again, he's had his issues with unfortunate injuries, no fault of his own. But guys you can really build something around over the next few years.
You've mentioned, the extreme situations that you've experienced this season. Do you think in a strange way those challenges have sort of helped the team and brought everybody together? Yeah,
that's what I was talking about before. I think there's cause and effect there. I think our cup runs have affected our league form. There's no doubt that if we weren't in Europe, if we'd got knocked out pre-January and we didn't have a run in the Carabao Cup we did, even with our injuries, fair to say our league position would be better than what it is today. I'm not saying we'd be in the top four, but we'd certainly be in a better position. So that's affected that. But also, what I said before is that the tough stuff we've had to go through in the league and the scrutiny and the criticism the guys have received has brought them really close together that, they've said, well, we're not going to let this beat us, and we've got to still have an opportunity to do something special. And I think they've used that as sort of motivation to stay strong through both the Carabao Cup and now in Europe to try and achieve something.
There's not been too many times this season where Basuma and Bentancur have started together. I just wanted to know what that partnership does offer you.
Yeah, look, I think, with both those guys, experience, which, we haven't had a lot of this year in crucial stages, real good game understanding, both are, with and without the ball, really disciplined and in terms of understanding their roles. And I think particularly in Europe, it's, like I said, it's a different beast. You need that kind of real sort of, like I said, tactical understanding of, what's required in that midfield role. And I think they've complemented each other with the way they've both played, but also the way they've adapted to the roles we've needed to in the last sort of period. And, I think it's worked really well for us.
Just final one from me. Do Lucas, Madders and the other injured players, they still have a role to play for this season, especially the final?
Yeah, they're always, there's always sort of a role to play. It's a funny one when you're injured. You don't want to be hanging around either, because that the guys need their space to prepare, train, but I've encouraged both of them and Radi the same, and to make sure they stay around the group. I think it's important because it can be pretty lonely when you're trying to rehab, and particularly when it's the end of a season. You kind of know you're not playing for the rest of the season, and it's almost easier when the season ends because everyone's on a break, so you're not missing at anything. So the idea is to keep them around the group as much as possible over the next couple of weeks, making sure that they're engaging with their teammates and a part of everything we do. So they'll for sure they'll stay involved, and I think it's good for them, but it's also good for the group.
George.
And you just spoke about AC/DC then. Any chance yourself, the players, record a cup song? Like we've had Aussie's Dreams before?
No. Like I said, mate, there's if you walk in our dressing room, there's too many extremes in the playlist there, mate, to even get some consensus about, from the South Americans to the obvious and the others are listening to, and then you got some of the other lads who anyway, none of that would be on my playlist, so I definitely wouldn't contribute.
Okay, fair enough. You kind of mentioned that Tamworth game. I was remembering after, I think Brennan got an injury, I think Dom got an injury. I don't know if you can, but if you had the chance, would you make 10 changes on Sunday just to kind of protect all those guys who started?
Look, I mean, I don't know how many changes we'll make, so I'm still we haven't trained yet, so I'll see how the boys are. But yeah, there's definitely there's a few things to consider. One is, yes, the artificial pitch does take, I could see after the game, boys were pretty sore, and we also got back really late. So, a lot of them yesterday were probably just sleeping all day just to recover. So you've got to factor all those things. So we'll definitely make changes tomorrow because it's just the right thing to do for the players themselves. We've got to look after them irrespective of, obviously, we've also got a major game to look forward to. So I'll see how the boys are this morning and we'll make decisions then.
And tomorrow's game is the first match, obviously, since you made the final. It's also the last match at home since you're going to play the final. I guess it will feel like a party atmosphere before kick-off. How important kind of you leave with a real strong performance, and not necessarily a win, but just kind of continue that kind of feel?
Yeah, I think it's, like I said, last week's game West Ham wasn't great, but like I said, I think at least the boys showed that, they're not dismissive of the league, they're still fighting and want to sort of arrest, where we're at in terms of that. And like I said, I think a lot of our supporters, we only had sort of 400 or 500 there the other night, so the rest of them are all here and they're all euphoric, and this will be their first chance to maybe share with the people that go to games regularly that experience of the other night at the game on Sunday tomorrow, and we want to make sure that we continue sort of giving them that positivity, and so it's important tomorrow we go out there and put in a performance. It's not easy when I'm going to be making the changes that, I think sometimes I feel it's unfair on the lads, but that's the situation we're in. And like I said, I thought last week they handled it a lot better, and we need to do a similar thing tomorrow just to be really resilient, make sure we put in a positive performance so that our supporters, like I said, get the chance to continue the sort of positive feelings they have around the club at the moment.
And just funny for me, you spoke many times about kind of when you achieve something, it helps if everyone is pulling in that right direction. And it does feel like there's maybe going back to the Frankfurt game or even the AZ game, it does feel like a shift with the fans and the players, and that's giving us really feels there now when maybe 2 or 3 months ago it wasn't necessarily there.
Yeah, look, I think, and it's again kind of understandable with the season we've had, but I've certainly felt it, and I think the supporters have played a huge role in our European run. I think sort of the RZ game at home and then sort of Frankfurt home and away, and obviously Bodo home and away. I think they've been brilliant. I think the Bodo game at home, I know people sort of got nervous when we conceded, but I thought we were so dominant that night. But a big part of that was just the way we started the game, and it was because of the crowd. The sort of energy inside the stadium from the moment the boys walked out. You got to pay for that, bud. So, the energy in the stadium, we scored within a minute. There's no doubt the crowd have played a huge part in our cup run for sure, and I'm sure that come the final, they'll have an important part to play there as well.
We'll just finish with Arthur.
Hi Ange. After United's semi-final, Ruben Amorim said he thinks he's odds on for the Europa League final because he thinks if he's lost to you 3 times already this year, he thinks to lose 4 in a row wouldn't be particularly likely. I was wondering if I could get your reaction to that line.
I'm sure in there's some Portuguese humour, mate, like my Aussie humour that gets lost on people. There's a little bit of irony there. I'm sure Ruben doesn't think that way, and looking forward. He's had his own challenges this year, but again, I think it's credit to him. He's got his club to a European final, and looking forward to matching up with him. We've had some good games against United this year and last year for sure. We've sort of come out on top, but it's a final of a game of a major tournament. I think the one thing you don't look at is previous sort of head-to-head comparisons become irrelevant. It's all about who performs on the day.
I know the match is still a little bit away. I don't know how much you've thought about it already, but is there anything in particular you're taking away from those first 3 matches that you're looking to take into the final?
No, not really. Again, I think you treat them all as a separate sort of entity because it's a unique situation. You're playing in a neutral venue. Like I said, it's a cup final, so you know there's all these other things around it. We'll analyse their team and sort of their football. I mean, I think you've seen slowly an evolution, which is only understandable in terms of the way he wants the team to play. I think the players are getting a better understanding. Again, it's always difficult when you come in mid-season. So yeah, we'll do our analysis, but we've got 2 important games before that, so we'll leave that till after the Villa game.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. Thanks, guys.